Hello, and welcome to the Clifford Nicgorski Show. I'm really happy that you're tuning in right now. We'll see how long that lasts. You might only watch a few minutes and then decide to change it. But then a couple days later, you go to take a shit and maybe something weird I said will stand out. And maybe you'll come back and finish this. Who knows what'll happen? Maybe you'll listen to the whole thing all the way to the end the first time. Wouldn't that be crazy? Maybe everything I'm saying right now is enough for you to turn it off and never come back. That would be the ultimate result for me. Because I'm going to talk about some wacky shit. And the fewer people tuning in, the better, I figure. So, anyways, here's the deal. I am sober. I quit drinking. I had a very dynamic, wild relationship with alcohol. Bud Light beer in particular. Shout out to Bud Light. We had some good times, we had some bad times. Bud Light was like a good friend of mine. Sweet friend of mine. That, it was almost like my little Thelma and Louise. Our boyfriends and husbands are kicking the shit out of us. And me and Bud Light, we grabbed each other's hand and we left the world behind. After we killed our abusers. So we went running away, and I'm starting to have some second thoughts as I approach that famous cliff that they go flying off of holding hands at the end of the movie. I'm having second thoughts, Thelma. I don't know if I'm Louise or Thelma. Which one was Gina Davis? Anyways, so I'd like to be Gina Davis in this situation. I'm just saying I'm having some second thoughts. I'm thinking, Thelma, I'm thinking of tucking and rolling and diving out of this convertible that we're being chased down in. So I jumped out. I tucked, I rolled, I jumped out, and now I'm getting sober. For the first time in about 20 years. Jesus Christ. When I started drinking, I was about 18. I'm 39 now. But I was drinking and I'd party at 18. But then when I turned 21, something clicked in my head and I said, holy shit. I can just, I was on my way to work. I was semi-self-employed. On my way to being self-employed. I had a really cool job. I fixed interiors of automobiles. Made a great living. Was able to do well for myself and my wife at the time. I don't know. I was always a mess. I was a horrible husband. Can you imagine me as a husband? Especially back then when I was in my early 20s. Jesus Christ. That's disgusting. But I had a pretty good job going for me when I turned 21. And I would show up at car dealerships. You kind of make your own schedule. You got to be diligent. You got to be your own boss. And it's hard to be your own boss. Especially when you have no education in being your own boss. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. So anyways, I could wake up pretty much when I wanted to, roll to work around 11, And when I turned 21, the day after, I was on my way to the first car dealership, used car dealership, and I saw this liquor store that I really liked. I love liquor stores. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know what if. I don't even know if fetish is the right word, but because I'm not horny for liquor stores, but anytime I see a liquor store, I really want to go in and buy a beer. And it's more about the experience. I like the smell. I like the linoleum tile. I like the riffraff around the liquor store. It's just a great feeling for me. I like looking at all the different alcohols, even though I only would get Bud Light. That's my favorite. So I would hang out in the liquor store, smell all the little weird smells, look at all the little tchotchkes, all the little meth head butane lighters. They got all the, you know what's funny at the liquor store? They understand. It's like the first Law and Orders, like the first seasons, the first like 6, 7 seasons. They knew they were being sexy and mixing it with the violence. They didn't hold back any punches. In the first episode or two, you got Stabler kicking the crap out of some pervert and questioning him in the interrogation room, and then he he gets home from work that day and he strips off his clothes, and young Mulaney, who played Stabler, Detective Stabler, Elliot fucking Stabler, he would get home from work and he stripped off his clothes and he's buff. He's got like the ex-Marine thing going on. He's got this tattoo, the Marine tattoo on him. And he's in a pair of super tight bikinis. He's got a little purple Speedo. And I don't know why, but I call it a bikini. It just makes sense. It's not like a bikini. I feel like that's for women. But if you've got a penis, you're probably wearing a bikini. So he's got his little beautiful Speedos on, and he's getting horny. And it's a real swooner. You really feel the heat. So you would be hearing this little boy give these descriptions of what happened to him in great detail, which I feel horrible for the actor. You know, there was a real little boy who was like, I want to be. He probably has a pair of tap shoes at home, and like imagine himself being like the next Jim Carrey one day, and he's watching Ace Ventura. It's the mid '90s, somewhat early '90s. I think it was like mid to late, well, like mid '90s, but he's probably thinking he's gonna be the next Jim Carrey. And he's like, I want to be an actor. And his parents need the money, so they get him their acting lessons. He's dancing and smiling, and they're going, hey, can you hold up this apple? And be like, hey, teacher, I brought you an apple. And he's auditioning. And then they get the kid down to the set, and all hell breaks loose. All sense of decency goes out the window. And they've got this kid reading these lines. It can't be good for him, you know? And he touched me with his tongue down here. Like, the actor child probably doesn't need to be saying those words and living that out. And the kids are good actors. That's what's so frightening. And then you got Stabler getting in his bikini, looking all hot and horny. So, I don't know. In the early 90s, they were a little more upfront. and with what was going on. Nowadays, they try to pretend it's not really happening, and it's a little more insidious. You know, they're sneaking it in because the longtime fans of Law and Order, they still need that. They still need that combo: the violence, the sexuality, the naughtiness, the taboos. They want to see the rapes. They want to see the date rapes. They want to see the hardcore side of reality and society. But they want the romance. They want to know Olivia's getting laid. You know, they have her right in the first couple episodes. She's getting laid. So they want us hot, they want us horny, and we know we want it all, but now they gotta sneak it to us because the world today, they can't be upfront with the things they want to experience. So they have to pretend it's something else so they can still be shocked and appalled whenever they feel obligated to. They can't go watching Law and Order if it's that obvious what's going on with that creepy show. So, anyways, it's good fun, it's good entertainment, but they were up front. The liquor store is very up front. You know, they make it very obvious that those little glass pipes are for crack that they're selling. That's not for tobacco. That's not for weed. That little bowl crack pipe thing, there's no one using that for anything else. They're not making tinctures and putting their frankincense in there or myrrh. You know, they're not cooking up anything healthy in there. Then they sell right next to it, and I don't know why they even have it, but they've got the little goggles. Not goggles, the Minion little headlamp, but it's LED, and they've got cool ones there. Those were made really for construction workers, and then maybe some late night sports bike riders, not the meth head riding his bike around the neighborhood meeting up with his buddies like he's back in the 80s on their BMXs cruising around Elliot from E.T. and his friends. They're doing that now in their late 50s, and they're all riding around the streets with these lamps on their head. Not those guys. I'm talking about cyclists, the other drug addicts, the healthy drug addicts like Lance Armstrong. I guess they've got a lot in common. They're doing their stimulants and they're doing their drugs. And they love riding around on their bicycles into their 50s. And they wear those little lamps on their forehead. And they seem to be in a hurry. Anyways, so they've got that, and they got those at the liquor store, and they got the crack pipe, and they also have the butane torches. Everybody's got the butane torch. And they've got fun ones, too. And you know, it's stuff that's made for kids. But it's being sold as adult. It's sold to meth heads. So it's like you see a Dragon Ball Z butane torch at the gas station. Who's using that? As a child, as a fan of Dragon Ball Z, like a kid watching cartoons, does he need a Rick and Morty lighter? Does he need not lighter, butane torch, little lighter thing, as a impulse item? Mommy, can you get me that Rick and Morty Can you give me that Adventure Time butane torch? Yeah, son. I'll get that for you. Here you go. This is perfectly normal. No, it's all... We know that's for meth heads. The guy at the liquor store who's smiling at you, who's giving you a weird look because you're buying your second 18-pack of Bud Light of the day. He's looking at you like, you fucking asshole. Meanwhile, he's got like hundreds of dick pills, pornography behind the counter. He's got meth head kits. You can, if you wanted to become a meth head, they've got everything. It's like a head shop, but they got everything except the drug. You know, you're gonna have to find that on your own, but you can get started. You can get the energy drink. You can get the headlamp. You can get the butane torch. You can load up on all the candies. You know, all the sugary desserts and treats. Because you like your opiates and your meth. But, anyway, so this guy who's looking at you like you're a dickhead, he thinks that it's okay to judge you, yet he's selling meth to the neighborhood dingleberries, meth kits. And then you see them out there on their bikes later that night, and they're cruising by and they're trying to talk to you. Yeah. I noticed that one of my favorite things is when you're approached by a meth head. Like, there was a meth head couple who walked up to me and my buddy, and sorry, I saw a spider. I had to kill it. But anyways, this meth head couple, a fella and his lady, came up to me and my buddy, two dudes, and was like, hey guys, you got any money? Like, they were all like nice about it and friendly. And we were like, oh, sorry man, we can't. They got furious and we're like, fags. So, you know, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I mean, I don't think he was calling us gay in a positive way. It seemed like he was, in his opinion, he was saying mean things to us that would upset us. So the irony in that is, this guy thinks it's a horrible insult to call men gay, yet he probably sucks a lot of dick because he has no money and he's got this heroin meth habit going on. You know, the opioid, meth, crack shit going on. But he's not gay. He just wants the crack, and he'll do it by any means necessary. Because, like, a lot of times with the hardcore drug addicts, they're like, well, you drink, you're an alcoholic. That's not any better. And all I could say to that is, I've never found myself in a position where I'm outside of a liquor store and someone's got a beer, and I go, I'll suck your dick for a waterfall, man. You ever do that with your buddies when you were when I didn't really go to much school, but when I did, every time you opened a drink, a kid would come up and be like, come on, man, can I get a waterfall? And they would take their beverage and they would go, and drop it into their mouth. I don't think I could waterfall today let me try to waterfall. It worked. My lips didn't touch the can. That was a mini Dr. Pepper. A miniature Dr. Pepper. Which I hear is the go-to drink of the drug addict that's recovering. They reach for Dr. Pepper, established in 1885. They haven't changed a thing about the 23 ingredients used. I'm disturbed that there's 23 things going on. And it's basically just sparkling prune juice. That's the flavor of Dr. Pepper. There's a few things I know in this world, and that's that Dr. Pepper is basically a soda version of prune juice, and that Sour Patch Kids are made by the same company that makes Swedish Fish, and they're just Swedish Fish with the sour sugar thrown onto it. So wrap your head around that madness. So I don't know where I am right now, but I feel like I'm discussing the beginning of the end and what I'm sobering up to. So that's a little bit about the history of my drinking, and that's where I was. I was talking about the beauty of the liquor store. So once I realized at 21, I can walk in. I can just, on my way to work, 11 o'clock in the morning, I could pull over, go in there, have a fun experience looking around at all the bullshit in the little liquor store, or bodega. We don't have bodegas here. We don't call them bodegas, so stop it. Some guy from the East Coast was over here, and he's like, oh, there's a little bodega in my neighborhood. I'm like, yeah, that's a liquor store. You went to a liquor store, my friend, not a bodega. So I would go perusing through the bodega, the local bodegas, and I there was an incredible feeling of freedom. Like, wow, I can just be a complete piece of shit and no one can stop me. This is amazing. And I didn't think I was hurting anybody, you know. I would drive around with a 40 on the way to work and put on some, at the time, back then I was listening to AT Aliens by Outkast. That was the album I listened to a lot when I first was cruising around drinking. And it was cool. It was a fun time. CeeLo did a lot of work on that album. Did you know that? It's one of my favorite Outkast albums. I feel like Outkast is the Beatles of hip hop, in my shitty little opinion. I say that because of the versatility, you know. A lot of people get upset when I say that, and I love it because they're like, "Oh man, the Beatles ripped off black music, the black culture, like Muddy Waters and all that stuff." And I go, "All right, calm down." Yeah, I really hear the Muddy Waters when I put on Sgt. Pepper. That's all I can hear. When I put on my favorite album, Revolver, I'm going, those are white guys? Wait a minute. This ain't some Robert Johnson blues track? Back then, you know, there wasn't 9,000 different kinds of music. If you wanted to play the blues, everybody like sang basically the same words. There was like every song sounded like Twist and Shout. Like there was like I don't know. There wasn't like thousands of options at that point. It was kind of like, hey, let's do rock and roll. So everyone who played rock and roll played the same fucking chord progressions. And then once in a while, a band would come and really get nuts with it. Because people say, like, Led Zeppelin. Speaking, I was going to say, speaking of SVU style situations. Everybody loves Robert Plant and Jimmy Page. But, and the whole, these guys were banging like 15-year-old chicks. It was pretty creepy. But nobody wants to go back. They're like, man, that's a tribute to how great Led Zeppelin was. Where people are like, just let them be. It was a different time. It was the 70s. When people say that about the 60s and 70s, everyone just accepts it. You can't... Those are the people who can't get canceled. Like, no one will go back to the 70s and go, man, Aerosmith, didn't Steven Tyler basically kidnap some family's daughter? He was with some underage girl and took her out of the country and they couldn't get her. Not that she was against, she probably was having a fun time, but that's where that phrase comes from, It's the 70s, it was a different time. Nobody, it just doesn't sound right, no one's buying it for the 90s. It was the 90s. It was the 90s, it was a different time. Joe Francis? Nobody's given that kind of a... Well, see, everyone kind of forgot. All these 20-year-olds, they were hardly even... They were either not alive yet or just little teeny larvae just squirming around sucking on mama's titties. But they didn't know about Joe Francis. They didn't know that you could sit there and put on the TV at night, and after the news, you get that 11 o'clock news, and it ends. That's when the commercials take over. That's when all hell breaks loose. You got like Larry's Trashy Garage. We had public access back then, and they can get pretty wild on public access. But then you had hours, like big blocks of like 2-3 hours of Girls Gone Wild commercials. And the guy who ran that company was Joe Francis. And he would be flying around on private jets. I wonder what happened with that guy. I know that he got sued because he had us, well, I'm saying us just because I'm speaking for society. He had us fiddling with our twig and berries to like underage girls. Back then I was underage. Joe Francis basically showed me. I guess if I was underage too, he was just showing me regular porn. I wonder if people struggle with that. You're like, I don't know. Never mind. There shouldn't be regular porn for underage kids. I wonder if people would be into that, like, or if like people could be like talked into that kind of being normal. Like, should the kids be masturbating to people older than them? And it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of worry, pornography actress. I don't think they sit around. Like, when you think of like, what are some of the damages of this? Oh yeah, if I'm getting down on camera, there's a really good chance this is gonna end up in underage kids' hands, and they're gonna be looking at me, and I'm going to be exposing myself to underage kids. It seems weird, if you ask me, because that would be like leaving pornography on the schoolyard. Like, oh, what? I didn't give it to anybody. But you knew it would be left in a place very easy to find by people who shouldn't be finding it. I don't know. Is there something there? Maybe not. But I wonder if people could be talked into that. Like, porn made by kids for other kids, and you just let them enjoy their porn. I don't think that's a good idea. This is a very bad idea. So the kids would sit there and watch these Girls Gone Wild commercials, and people, I remember going with my buddy. He just turned 18, and we went to the mall, and there's a place still around at that time called, I think it was Warehouse. It's called like the Warehouse. And we went in there, and he got himself his first porn, and that was Girls Gone Wild. And apparently, there was a lot of underage meow meow on those videos. So he had to flee the country, and now he lives like somewhere in Europe. I gotta find out. We gotta find out what happened to him. I wonder if there's any Epstein connection to Joe Francis. But it was definitely bizarre. It was definitely a different time. And now I'm lost. Let's see, where was I? Ah, yes. The world I was last sober. I got a little lost there for a minute, okay? Cut me a break. This is all new to me. So the place where I left off was when I was 21, and I realized I can drink at any given point, and I was listening to my music and driving around, causing a scene, baby. The world just looked different. It functioned different. And it's not as if I held on to those things. I kind of just left those things behind. I hated the early 2000s. I hated the commercials. I hated the voiceovers in the commercials. I hated the attitude of the commercial people. You know, they're sitting there and they're just hot and horny. I'm just not Mr. Hot and Horny, okay? I don't need to get horny when I'm trying to figure out what I want to eat. And everybody loves that phrase in Hollywood, and everyone knows it, and they all think it's really funny and laugh when they mention it. Hey, you know, sex sells. Sex sells. And it's like, you should be saying that, like, isn't it disturbing that companies are trying to learn every single thing they can about you so they can, especially what makes you horny, so they can try to, like, mix horny. That was the time period of the late 90s, early 2000s. They were trying to insert horniness into everything. It was like shows like Charmed, and it's like witches, and there's horny, and there's demons, and there's, you know, spells, and there was a show Angel, and there's just nothing. It's him with demons and Hollywood and horniness and just everything. Then you like listen to Carl's Jr. commercial, and the guy's like breathing heavy. You get like see him in the studio. He's just, yeah. He's warming up to do the commercial. Oh yeah. All right, you're on in 3. Okay, let me do a take. Carl's Jr., you hungry motherfuckers. Let's chew. How's that sound? Give you a few different ones? Okay, yeah. Put it in your mouth, stupid. Okay, I'll try some more. Chew it up and swallow, motherfucker. Too intense? Okay, I'm gonna try some other ones. You gotta lick it before you stick it in your mouth and chew. Yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't think that one was good either. Gnaw on this. Chew it like a pussy. Yeah. Everything was really horny. Even if it was like most talented animals. You know, world's most talented dogs. The announcer wouldn't say that. They should have said it like that. It should have been my voice going, tonight on America's most entertaining dogs. And instead you get some guy who can barely keep his act together while he's recording the voiceover. He's like messing up. He's like, you had him Freudian slips. He's like, tonight on America's sexiest dog. I mean, most talented dogs. Let me try that one again. It's too horny. Everything was too horny. Like when I want to eat, I don't want to be like, who has the sexiest burger? Whose burger has the biggest tits attached to it? Just this woman in a barn sitting on a hot rod, pulling a lasagna burger out of her asshole. And now I want to eat that. Give it to me. Some naked human rolling around with a sandwich. I want to eat that now. Oh, yeah. And then you get the sandwich and you just shove your dick into it. It's like, what's happening here? Why is this happening? Why am I having sex with an onion ring? I was hungry. I forgot whether I was hungry or horny. What the hell am I doing? Yeah, so it was a horny world, a creepy, perverted world, and I didn't have much interest in that. It was kind of upsetting. Everybody was tough. People were bumping shoulders. You would walk through the mall. You guys don't realize this if you're in your 20s. I don't know if it's because I'm older, so I don't run into many confrontations. I don't know if I'm putting out the right kind of vibe where I go under the radar these days. But in the early 2000s, everybody I knew, you would be walking to the mall and they all had their stupid tank tops or wife beaters on, and perfectly acceptable name for the tank top too. Everybody loved it. It was like great. The women thought it was great too. It wasn't like oh, the men are pigs. They're calling it, and calling those tank tops wife beaters, and all the women were like, this is horrible. I can't believe I have to take this. I can't believe I have to hear these tank tops called this horrible name. The women liked it. They were going, I got a wife beater. Wife beater. Got a wife beater. It was fun. That's how people talked. People talk like animals. People talk like assholes. That was what was funny. Humor's gotta change, you know. Different things are funny at different times. You know, the Sunny in Philadelphia vibe. That was very prominent back then. Which I like that. I think they do a great job. But who the fuck cares what I think? I know I don't even care what I think. But what I did was I got my Bud Light and I said, fuck this crappy, boring, horny, tough guy world. It's not for me, baby. But I had my beer and I had my music and I had my art and I was able to have fun with that. But now that I'm no longer drinking or smoking doobies, I'm not doing the California sober. Can Demi Lovato do anything all the way? She's like, I can't commit to being sober. I can't commit to what sex I am. She doesn't want anything to do with anything. And I don't blame people. You know, that makes sense to me. I probably agree with that. I probably agree with that concept of like, who even cares? Because I see Demi and I go, now that looks good. She looks like she's in good shape. She's all oiled up and she has just a neutral hairstyle that's just kind of like nothing. She's not sober because she still smokes the weed. And yeah, it's cool. It's kind of like you don't have to commit to anything. You just can kind of be. Let your body just be a shell for whatever soul is inside of it. What does your body have to do with anything, you know? Why be sober all the way, you know? Just do half sobriety, half weed. But right now, I'm committing to the no weed, no beer, basically all the obvious substances. But coffee is a drug. No one's sucking dick for coffee. They might be rude. They might be a jerk about their coffee, but people don't get divorces. Cars don't crash because someone drank a little too much coffee today, typically, you know. All hell doesn't ensue. People don't call their exes at 3, 4 in the morning because they had a little too much coffee to drink. They might be up. They might be feverishly pleasuring themselves all night, but they're not getting into big trouble, really. They're just kind of acting a little weird, acting a little goofy. So, where was I? I'm off the substances. But do you still take herbs like tea? Well, you know that affects your mind. That affects. So what's the difference between mint and weed? Well, when I have mint or those kind of herbs, spices, I don't sit there and if I have like too much mint, I don't think all my friends are demons. I don't think that when I hear like a little sound, I don't think that's the guy from Mulholland Drive, from the beginning of Mulholland Drive, who is behind the dumpster, and that little blackface guy, all in black, that little bum guy comes sliding out like, and then the guy has a heart attack and dies. I don't feel like that's happening every 2 minutes when I eat too much mint or basil. But when I have the herb of marijuana, I get pretty far out there. I go, oh my God. everybody I know is a demon. And it's real. They're demonic. And essentially, they want me dead. They're not coming at me with weapons. They're not coming at me with physical violence. But their actions towards me are just as violent and even more so damaging. Because it causes me to hurt myself. Now, maybe that was wise. Maybe I needed to smoke too much doobies and think that. Because maybe there's a lot of truth to that. Maybe all our friends are demons. Maybe this is hell. Maybe we are sitting here and we don't realize that everything on this planet was put here to make us want to kill ourselves. Eventually, everything on this planet, every person, every living thing on this planet was put here for us to take the coward's way out. To eat that sexy cheeseburger, to drink that Bud Light, to get by, to smoke that sweet doobie, whatever it may be. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And the cool thing is I don't need to, because it'll all be over soon. The world is coming in loud and clear over the past couple months, and even more so now. Because I was doing the Demi Lovato greasy face. I had my face all greasy, and you could see the hair. I just comb it down, and just kind of give you that, like, neither here nor there look. Who knows? Who knows what I've got going on, and it's really none of your business. Attitude. And I was smoking doobies, but now I'm only 8 days in on my super sobriety. I'll take the soup. Cute. But yeah. The world is revealing itself to me. I'm going, well, I've been inside my little turtle shell for 20 years, trying to ignore this crappy world, and I come out and I go, what the fuck is happening? People don't know. I'm noticing that humans are kind of blurring the line between animals and humans. That's right. So, as I hang out, fully sober, no longer dabbling with mind-altering substances, at least not the fun ones, the ones that work. The world's just revealing itself to me, and it seems to be in utter chaos. It seems like there's some sick thing going on with humans and animals. I can't put my finger on it all the way, completely, but I'm definitely seeing some things that are disturbing. Love at first bark? I don't even want to know.
Meow, 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 meow.
I don't even want to know. I'm not going to ask. But humans love their animals, so they say they do. But I mean, if you love the animal, don't you learn about it? I feel like a lot of people say they love their dog, but they don't love their dog. They don't find out about their dog. How could that, like I meet dog owners who say they love their dog all the time, and I talk to them about their dog, and it's obvious that they don't understand how dogs work or the sort of things dogs like. You know, it's kind of like the human is brainwashing the dog to enjoy the things that the human likes. Like, think about it. I saw this one woman, she was at the mall, and she had this dog. And it was not a cute little, like, Paris Hilton dog. But she was trying to make it one of those dogs. It was a little too long. It was one of those dogs where it has like a golden, or a yellow lab's head. And then kind of like a corgi body. So clearly a lab fucked a corgi. And now we got this little thing looking at us. Well, this lady's, she takes it to the mall and she's trying to hold it. But the legs are kind of hanging out the back, just kicking there. Like, she's only got the top part, and there's all this dog coming out of the back. And she's walking, and she's struggling with it. She's in the middle of the mall. I go, you're in the middle of the mall, and you're struggling. The dog looks nervous.
Meow, meow, meow.
The dog looks nervous to be there. Doesn't like what's happening. The dog's nervous to be there. It doesn't like what's happening. And, you know, it makes me think this lady doesn't know what this dog likes. She's going, I want a dog that can go everywhere with me. We'll go to the mall today. How about that, Trixie? The dog hates the mall. It's loud. Anything you think about, like, nature and animal, like, there's no breed of dog that just loves the chaos of the mall. Oh, yeah. Cool, there's a Ferris wheel indoors. And oh, nice. 1,000 different kinds of smells that I can't have. Like, overpowered. As a human, you walk through the mall, and you get a freaking headache. Because there's nothing but butter and Mrs. Fields and Mongolian barbecue. He's usually five Chinese food places in the food court. Really, there's usually about 3, and they all serve the exact same thing. But anyways, there's these smells. There's Cinnabon going, Wetzel's Pretzels. There's 2 different kinds of pretzel places. You got Wetzel's Pretzels. And what's the other one? I forget. You don't remember. But there's usually like 2 brands of hot pretzel places. And it just seems like a dog wouldn't like that. There's loud sounds. There's at least 20 babies just screaming into the air. There's children screaming into the air. There's adults screaming into the air for the kids and the... It's truly a living hell at the mall, and especially if you're a dog and you have amplified senses, like your ears. You know, you can hear a squirrel shit from 20 yards away. But you're in the mall with loud music and Foot Locker. You know, there's always a wild scene at Foot Locker. And can you imagine being a dog too, and your owner walks you by Build-A-Bear, and you just look over, and there's like 1 million stuffed animals in there that you're not allowed to touch? You can't play with them? all the people around him playing, you can't play with them. It seems like a real fucking nightmare. It seems like the people who say they care about their animals don't, really. They put them in these situations that no natural animal, not even a human should be in any of these situations. If you ask me, I don't think that a human or a dog should be within 20 miles of a laser tag facility. So they got these dogs. There's movies coming out. I don't know. There's a lot of TV shows where the humans and animals are becoming one. There's Sweetie Pie. That's a freaking nightmare of a show. And you know it's like this horrible show where a whole generation of kids are half animal, half human. There's like a lamb, there's like a frickin' bird kid, there's a pig girl. It's really upsetting. And the countdown has begun, you know. When will it get sexual? It seems like the kids are getting old enough to at least have crushes and start romance going. Everybody's an animal. All the lines are blurred, and I'm perfectly sobered to absorb it. I hate it. I don't like shows. Nothing makes sense anymore. Del Taco has a slogan: unfreshing believable. That's really horrifying. I think I'm a marketing genius because I was able to identify immediately that was a bad idea. Like, you wouldn't want to say your food's unfresh, even though it's true. You know, it's probably not a good idea to put it on the poster, the words unfresh. But what that shows me is they're more excited about saying the F word, like unfucking believable. It was like the most important thing is they said the F word, and nothing else mattered. There's no play on words, because there's no unfuckingly believable. That's not a thing. Yeah, so there was no thought or anything put into it. It was just put out there for us. I don't know. But, this is it. This is what the show's gonna be. I'm gonna mull over my life as the world disintegrates. And I invite you guys to tune in and hear me out. But, we'll talk soon. This is going to be the show. I'm going to do one a week, and it's going to be really, it's going to be something, but I don't know. I just need an outlet, and there's really no structure to this show, and that's why it's called the Clifford Nicgorski Show, because there's really no structure to my thought. I'm kind of just... Is that true or isn't it? Or does he plan it all out? I don't know. Who cares? You guys, treat your dogs well. I'm going to leave you with this. Treat your dogs well. Treat your animals well. Don't put them in situations that would be good for a human. Because if you do, you're making me think that you believe that humans and dogs are entwined and that we want the same things. And if we want the same things, maybe we should date each other. And that's what I'm afraid of. We got BoJack Horseman and a number of shows where everybody's half kind of a human, half kind of like an animal, and the full animals are banging regular human chicks, and your eyes are getting used to seeing these things. And I think it's important to stop what we're doing and acknowledge what's happening. There's seems to be some sort of a shift where we're supposed to feel like we're animals. So stop taking your dogs to the mall, because that's not happening. I hate the idea that this needs to be said, but I'm going to say it as a public service announcement, okay?
Meow, 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 meow.
Don't have sex with your animals. Don't form a romantic relationship with your dogs, your animals. You know, I know everybody's so spiritual now, and they're like, what is there really time? I don't know. What is a human anyways? I really don't even know. What are morals? What is anything? What is it? Who knows? It's all getting lost in the jumble. I'm just saying, please, the dog is not your best friend. The dog is an animal that likes you because you feed it and you're giving it the stuff it needs. It doesn't go, are you okay? If it looks at you like it's worried about you, that means that's like when you look at your wallet and you're going, oh my God, I don't have money. Or if you're like a kid and you look at your dad's looking at the bills and he's like, I don't know how we're gonna pay rent this month. And then as the kid you're looking up and I'm like, oh my goodness. You don't care about your dad's feelings of inadequacy for not being able to pay the rent. You're worried about, are you gonna go to Disneyland or not? Are you gonna be able to take those guitar lessons? Is dad gonna buy you that Xbox? How are you gonna get the things you want? So you worry about your dad when he's stressing out over bills and putting on his wife beater and arguing with mom. So just so you know, that's what your dog is doing. It's looking at you. If it's worried, it doesn't care about your feelings. Somehow little Benny just knew that I was worried, and he came right up to me and put his head on me. Started licking my hand. No, the dog said something's wrong. I can sense that this human is struggling, and this is the only thing. If this guy dies, I don't eat. You know, my dog gets so worried when I leave because she loves me so much. So I left my dirty sock over by its bed, and I think that comforts the dog. The dog doesn't find comfort in your smell, in your sock. It doesn't miss you. It thinks that you're not coming back. Because if you go out into the world, you've locked the dog in, and you die, something happens to you, you never come home, the dog realizes I'm gonna die in this apartment, this very small apartment that I live in, because my owner just was so lonely that he had to get a dog to keep him company, even though a dog doesn't necessarily want to live in an apartment. A dog is much more comfortable with some kind of grass, maybe a little shelter outside, but it can go in and out as it pleases. That's what a dog wants. If you can't give that to a dog, you're really let me just say this. You're not doing the animal any favors, okay? As far as providing it what it really needs out of this life. I mean, the dog definitely needs a home because there's a lot of dogs and a lot of strays, so they need to be taken care of. It's better than seeing them dead. But you should approach it like that. You should talk about what kind of owner you are and the situation in that way. You know, don't talk about it like the dog couldn't be happier, it loves your apartment, it just loves eating the food that you give it, it loves its toy, look how happy. When it's biting that squeaky toy, he wants to really be ripping a ground squirrel apart and listening to it make that squeaking sound. But you're not going to give it that. You're going to give it the fake squirrel. Do you want to give your animal the fake squirrel? Well, you go out and experience the real life. Your cat has to live this virtual life. And all the humans are worried that we're going to have to do that. Like, hey, I don't want to have to put on goggles and then put a machine on my genitals. And then that's how I make love now. We're all locked in our own apartments. And we live a digital, virtual life. But that's kind of what you're doing to your dog. It's not getting to rip apart the ground squirrel. It's not living outdoors and able to go in and out as it pleases. So just get real. Your animal's an animal, and you're the human, and you're trying to make your dogs do things that you enjoy. If your dog can get on board going to the mall with you, then your day is made. Well, this is the Clifford Nicgorski Show, and I'm going to leave you with that. I hope you guys have an excellent week, and I'll see you around this time next week. Bye. Hi, Clifford Nicgorski here, and I want to promote anything you want, okay? You let me know, and I'll promote it. If you're excited about a new pair of shoes that you got, okay, and you want me to talk about it on the show, send me a picture of those bad dogs, and I'll promote it. Hey, guess what? Jeffrey's got a new pair of shoes. And or if you've got a band and you're going, hey, I'd like people to know about my music. I mean, if you send me your music and you ask me to promote it, just so you know, I'm going to give it a review. It may not be a pleasant review, but I'll do it. And I'll play it on here. But it may be a great review. Maybe I'll love it. I hope so. I hope that I would receive good music. But if you've got a selfie, okay, we can put it up here, and you're just really proud of it. You think it looks good. We got your back. I'll put it up. I might criticize the picture. I might say you kind of look stupid, or maybe give it a little critiquing. But if you got a new haircut that you want to promote on the show, please let me know. If you've got a show coming up, let me know. If you want to join me, go fuck yourself. I don't want you here with me. I got my own little thing going on. Get the hell out of here. But if with any luck, no one will watch this. So It'll actually be a lot of fun. So send me anything you'd like to promote, and we'll put it on the show. I don't care what it is. Even if you killed somebody, if you murdered someone and you're really excited about it, let me know, and I'll put it on. We'll promote it. Anything. When I say anything, I mean anything. If you hate your neighbor, if you love your pizza delivery girl and you want her to know about it, tell us. And I'll just promote it. Okay, bye.